Join us on another adventure with Wild and Free,
Interior Alaska.
So we don't have a lot of footage to share this weekend because our primary focus was finally relaxing for a little while again. But also we had some of our friends come out Saturday for the day. So they came out, they actually helped us quite a bit with several different parts of this build. So you've probably seen a little bit of footage of them as it was coming together. And this was their second time coming out here in the winter. The first time was helping us haul a few logs when we were doing our first kind of trial runs. And so they hadn't been out here on their own. They just got a Snowmachine this winter. It looks a lot different from winter than summer. I'm just going to start with that. And so Saturday we had a great time. We didn't record anything. We were just hanging out, chatting, playing Pictionary, Telestrations, and exploding kittens and things like that. I'll throw in a few pictures for you to see. But on the way out, he went and met them at the trailhead. We planned accordingly because from last week to this week, the trail was a lot different. That's something we also didn't talk about. There was high winds on the day prior, and it was just drifts, and there was fresh powder, and it was just kind of hard to see where you've been with the winds that were continuing. So to make sure that the trail was visible, he went and met them, got them out here, got out around probably noon, 11:30 or something like that, probably noon. And they stayed until 5:40 p.m. Keep in mind, very important time. We did not give them an escort back to their vehicle. It was daylight still. They seemed confident. It only snowed just a little bit. You could kind of see, even if it's, blown away, maybe where enough of some existing little trail in the daylight to really focus. And if you weren't quite sure, but you had kind of you're just out here a few hours ago. And factoring that it would probably take them about an hour to make it back to their vehicle and load up, and then 2 more hours to get home by the time they have service to text us on our inReach and let us know that they're okay. Well, 8:40 comes. We haven't heard anything, and I'd send them a message at 8:30 because you can come into service at least within 30 minutes before, as you get close to, as you get into town. Nothing. 9 o'clock comes. Nothing. At that point,
we're running out of daylight. So I decided to take a run back to the trailhead just by myself on the Snowmachine. I get back to the trailhead and see their truck is still there, which I don't think they'd be the type of people to let's just go explore somewhere else or whatever, and they said they were going home. So I'm immediately concerned because now it's been 3 hours and they haven't made it back, 4 hours, and they haven't made it back to the trailhead.
4.
So I kind of look a little bit on the way back to the cabin, now pushing 10 o'clock. I don't see them anywhere. Really, the trail's been too ridden now, and it's been windy. I can't really follow tracks. So I get her, and now it's dark-ish. So I'm like, well, actually help in searching a little bit, and that if they have a light, they can start their Snowmachine, they can turn on their phone light, do something, we'll be able to see them from a long ways off. So her and I go back out.
We search over every
4 miles probably.
Every ridge, thinking, okay, did you go off the trail because you got turned around? Sometimes we kind of get turned around on what sides of the ridges to go up, and then like we've mentioned before, if you're not on the trail, it can be deep powder, especially with all the wind we've had and the snowfall.
It was above freezing during the day, so by the end of the day the snow was crap if you tried to go off the trail.
It's not ideal. So, we're looking at every possible place. We think maybe they could have like just gotten turned around or and off the trail or something. And we keep going ridge to ridge to ridge, looking over every edge, just searching. And yeah, we went probably about 4 miles, still hadn't found them, and we reconvened. And going down the valley, as you've seen us in some footage, to the far right is a set of cabins. And the guy, cool people, and the kind of bush etiquette out here is to leave your cabin unlocked so that if you find yourself in a situation that you now have a place that could potentially save your life depending on what you've just come across. So I was thinking, okay, if we haven't seen them yet, from between there and the truck, if they got into something, which is very possible through there, you can miss the trail, you end up in the deep valley, that they hopefully would have found their way back to the cabin. So at that point, we drive over around their cabin, which we've never actually really been over there because you do keep away from people's stuff unless you really need to. And he drives around. I almost didn't follow him. So certain times when he'd go look over the edges, I wouldn't always follow him, or I'd go by foot, or I would like glass other areas. And I almost didn't follow him because I knew we were going into untouched powder. I'm not a fan of that because that would create potentially another person getting stuck to get out, because I'm not as well versed on Snowmachine, mainly due to my weight. It can be difficult to throw around in those situations. But I was like, that's a little ways over there, instead of hanging out on the main trail. So I'm gonna follow him. We loop around. He goes nice and slow. We don't see any signs of life. Obviously, there's no Snowmachine because we figured they've abandoned it. But you still look for it. Didn't see any footprints. Nothing. No lights on. No smoke from the chimney. Nothing. You couldn't see anything. Like, it's darkish, but it's not pitch black yet. But it would be enough where, like, you should see something. So we don't see any sign. He, carries on. I, like, slow down and just kind of do a few more looks. Like, okay, I guess I really don't see anything. There's no steps into any cabin. And so as I'm rounding the corner and the cabin's almost out of sight, I hear my name. And at that point, I didn't know if I was just wanting to hear that because I was so desperate to find them, or if it was really them. And I start yelling to him, but you can't hear when you yell on the Snowmachine. It's just what you try to do, and it doesn't work. So I catch up to him back up on the trailhead and was like, I'm fairly certain they're in there. And he's like, I didn't see anything. I'm like, I heard my name. And so we go back around, and luckily they were in there. Thank God. It was getting really kind of scary. We were definitely fearing for the worst. And they got their Snowmachine stuck really deep in the powder. They lost the trail, which it's been quite difficult lately to figure out what direction to head to get down through the valley. And they ended up in really deep, untouched powder. They were stuck, got it unstuck, stuck, unstuck. They said they were down there for like 2.5, 3 hours before they finally decided to abandon it and crawl, because it's post-holing or crawling, because that snow is deep, all the way back to those people's cabins that they knew were in that general area, and got themselves a fire going, and we're just kind of waiting it out in there. So the plan today is we're having our coffee now. After that, we're gonna button up the cabin for good, because next weekend we won't be able to be out here, and then after that, snow conditions are unpredictable, so it'll probably be until snow melt. It could be, who knows. It starts getting really questionable, and this isn't a place that you want to get yourself stuck in slush on a 6-mile journey. So we probably won't be back out here until the snow is melted and we can get out by ATV, side-by-side, 4Runner, whatever it is at that time. And we're going to ride back to that cabin with all of our stuff, the kids and everything, and we're going to pick them up and figure out general direction.
Assess how the machine is. We didn't see it yesterday.
No.
Apparently it's pretty stuck.
And doesn't sound too close to the actual trail.
Yeah.
So we're going to assess the situation as we get closer to it and figure out, do we want to put ourselves in a predicament of driving our own machine down there and potentially now digging out too? Do we just postal our way down there and we just shovel a path all the way back to the main trail? We'll figure out what to do. If time allows, I'll maybe capture a little bit for you, but priority is getting them unstranded and back home to rest of their family. So that's what we're going to be doing today, and this turned into one of the most memorable adventures so far. Man, the adrenaline rush was like no other. I was literally getting ready for bed, and then I was just like, I just have that feeling we just can't go to bed not knowing they haven't answered. And then it just turned from there, like anything could have happened. We're just really grateful that they weren't hurt or injured, and managed to get back into that cabin, which it sounds like it was not an easy or a close trek. So I'm glad that they made it there. And I mean, they're military, they're smart, they're survival. They have both been through CWLC. They know cold weather. They know what to do. We're thankful for that. And they had their inReach, but come to find out, something we forget is that even if you send a message to another inReach, you can't receive it unless you've sent the message to that inReach. Now, I've never sent them a message, and they never sent me one until today, so we never got the communication of what was happening. So for us, we were still in the dark. We're still thinking the worst. So in the end, hopefully we'll be able to get them out, and hopefully later laugh about all of this after all of the misery we're probably about to go through shoveling.
So these are the cabins that are off of the trail that they found their way back to. As you can see, the weather was not great, super windy. Look at these drifts. It's been unruly out here, but we are glad that they were able to kind of seek shelter in this guest cabin that they have with instructions about seeking shelter. So we were just super grateful. They came from way down there in the valley. It actually like drops off, like this is the edge, and then it drops down into the valley. So they had quite a trek. So the plan at this point was to ride back to the bottom of the valley. This is actually like the trail that we normally are on, that we came here on just the day prior when we brought them out. And the wind and snow we got overnight just created these massive drifts where you can't even see and you're just stuck immediately. So my husband was trying to turn around so that we could head back up and facing the other direction to be a little bit closer to head to where they had abandoned their snow machine, back up that way. But you can see there is no sign of where the prior trail was from just the day before and how deep it is when you get off of the trail. We were off to a good start getting this machine stuck, and we had to end up digging our way out, and then my snow machine ended up acting up during the recovery efforts too.
So I found their machine. It's probably 200 meters off the trail in the woods. I got mine in there. It's gonna be a nightmare getting this thing out of here. I already started shoveling a little bit. There's a better look at it. So there's this, no way we're going back uphill from here. We're gonna have to try and turn them and just boondock down through the woods, downhill. Let gravity work for us. Now mine's stuck. I gotta get it facing downhill. So I'm giving up. We're just gonna leave them. I'm good when there's less snow. I'm gonna crawl 200 meters back to the main trail. I'm using my shovel for my hands on this flotation and crawling on my knees, trying not to sink in. So that'll work. So you can see where they got stuck another time. Did a lot of shoveling to then go further in the wrong direction. So just to recap, our friends came out. I escorted them to the cabin. I thought they could find their way back on their own. They went way off into the woods over here. Got stuck. They ended up walking to someone else's cabin and spending the night. I just came down to try and get it out. I got mine stuck. If I spent all day, I think I could get it out, but I just have to leave it and come back in a month when the snow's gone. Right now I'm crawling on my hands and knees out of here. Some lessons were learned today. We got the Trail of Tears.
So what you see we have here is a little train situation going, and we're down to one snow machine that doesn't want to run right at all for some reason, and his snow machine's left for dead, their snow machine's left for dead, and now we're gonna try to get all of us back to the truck like 2.5 miles like this with a snow machine. It's not running well, so we'll see. But we're not dead, but our season coming out here has come to a close. This is it. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Till summer. Well, we've made it maybe, I don't know, how many meters, not a lot, and we're stuck because it's severely drifted. You see all the drift? So you just are sinking, and we're not making it far, and the snow machine keeps quitting on us, so this is really good time, having fun.
So a little recap of exactly what happened out there after that last clip of the video. We ended up making it back to the trailhead to our vehicles. The snow machine that we were all on did stop working several times along the way. Still not quite sure what was up that day, but it was really frustrating. And then we thought that we would be waiting to recover these snow machines until summer. However, the owner of the other snow machines, so our friends that were out there, ended up going up with some buddies during the week in an attempt to recover them. It was a long day for them. I believe that they got out there around noonish and weren't back until after midnight. They brought several machines with them to get out to our machines to recover them. I think they brought winches and a whole bunch of other stuff. But during it, like a battery died on one of them. Another one had issues. They got another one stuck. So they had to recover all the ones that they also brought out there. It was a trail of tears. It was like one thing after another. Everything was just not going well. But finally, after a lot of hard work, they ended up getting every machine out, the ones that they went there with and the ones that we had left there. So they got those out, which was really good because after that, the weather started to change quite a bit. We warmed up a lot earlier this year, and I know that these are getting posted a little bit later, but we won't be able to make it out there for at least another month and a half from when this occurred at the end of April. And so from the end of April, we aren't going to be able to get out there until at least maybe the first week in June if we're lucky. So this is like about the mid-end of April. And we're going to try to get out there hopefully in the next few weeks by our 4Runner or ATV, depending on what the conditions are. But in the end, every snow machine was recovered while it was still winter on like the last opportunity possible to get out there and get them before the snow conditions extremely deteriorated into just several feet of slush, which is not ideal. So we got them out. It was a lot of hard work. It was definitely scary at times, but no one was injured.
no snow machine was destroyed. So we're extremely grateful and hope that our friends will come out and visit us again and that this didn't deter them from future visits in the winter. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Give us a like and subscribe and follow for our next adventures on Wild and Free.
Interior Alaska.